Hey friends, I'm Stacy and this is Gorgeously Aging, and today I'm going to do a full makeup look featuring Merit the Uniform Tinted Mineral Sunscreen. I've got a few other new products and things I'm loving, both drugstore and high-end. I am particularly excited to share a drugstore blush that is phenomenal. My makeup looks are always really great for mature skin, but can be used for anybody. I'm going to start by prepping the skin with the Bobbi Brown. This is the Vitamin Enriched Face Base. You guys, this is fantastic. I absolutely love this for a rich moisturizer. Whether you wear makeup or not, this is fantastic for dry, mature skin. I think anybody with dry skin would enjoy this, especially in the summer months when you have some sun exposure. It definitely replenishes any lost moisture in the skin and preps the skin nicely for the day, but looks beautiful under makeup. I do like to use this around the eyes and of course bring it down the neck. If you guys are watching my Rumble channel with advanced facial rejuvenation tutorials, you probably saw that I did mesotherapy on my neck and chest using the Hand Heal NAD Plus earlier this week, and you can see that those bumps are now gone. There's a little residual redness, but there's no more bumps on my neck and chest. They do go away pretty fast. If you haven't seen that video, head over to rumble.com/gorgeouslyaging. You can check that out. All of my advanced facial rejuvenation educational videos are totally free. I'm going to move on to the Dermatology Luminous Eye Corrector. This is an under eye corrector and brightener. It's SPF 41, which is fantastic under the eyes. I also love the Color Science Total Eye, but the Dermatology version of that is a little cheaper. You don't even need a full pump. I use like half a pump and just put part of it under each eye and just spread it out using the cool applicator, and then I'll move on to my fingers. This helps to brighten and correct any discoloration. It's also very nourishing under the eye, but it definitely brightens up that aging under eye. I like to get it in the corner. I do have a tiny bit of bruising from some temple filler that I did not long ago. That was also earlier this past week. So this helps with any discoloration and bruising, and the metal tip is very cooling when you first apply it. What's left on my finger I like to bring up to my upper eyelid. This is a zinc oxide or mineral sunscreen for under the eyes, so it isn't irritating. All right, I just picked this up yesterday. This is the Merit the Uniform Tinted Sunscreen. I have it in the color 22. There are quite a few shades for tinted sunscreen, so there is quite a bit to choose from. So this is the shade that I chose. It has a nice liquidy formula, not too thick. And again, this is shade 22. I'm just gonna do a little bit more because I wanna make sure that I have good coverage with the SPF. This is a tinted sunscreen. So right off the bat, I like the hydration of this. The color is spot on for me. I always have such a hard time picking the perfect color. It definitely has a skincare feel. Feels more like skincare and less like makeup, which I really like. I would say the coverage is just light. This is a tinted sunscreen, not necessarily a foundation. Bring it down my neck a little bit. Definitely hydrating. I'm going to take a sponge. This is by Refer, and just sponge that in. I really love the color and the hydration on this. For me, having mature, dry skin, the hydration is really helpful, and the color is perfect for me. I love Merit beauty products in general, and I think they did a super good job with this formula. If you have oily skin, you might not like this, but if you have normal, dry, mature skin, this is fantastic. So I'm gonna go under my eyes with a little bit of the Luminous Silk by Giorgio Armani. This is the Luminous Silk Concealer. I also love the Luminous Silk Foundation. It's kind of my go-to foundation if I'm going to like a special event or a special dinner. It is pricey, but it is gorgeous. And I'm gonna use a Refer concealer brush and just work this under the eye and a little bit over on the upper eyelid here. You don't have to use a concealer after using this Dermatology Corrector. It might just be enough, but today I was feeling a little extra coverage and brightness under the eyes. Because I have a little bit of bruising from that temple filler, this will definitely help cover that bruising. I'm going to take a little bit what's left on the brush and go around my nose, and then I'm going to take my sponge again and just sponge that in. You guys, I have absolutely been loving this Anastasia Beverly Hills contour stick. I will list the color down below. I can't read it without my readers on, but this is so creamy and beautiful, and the color is perfection. So I like to contour along my hairline, the perimeter of my face, my jawline, a little bit on my upper eyelids up here, down my nose. And contouring doesn't have to be difficult. You'll see a lot of videos that kind of make it seem like it has to be ultra precise. And I mean, obviously you don't want it to be messy, but it's not as hard as what some videos make it look. I'm gonna put a little bit on this part of my face here. And I'm gonna use the Rephr LC03 brush and just stipple that in, just to give the face a little more shape, dimension, sharpen up the cheekbones, and minimize jowling, and sharpen the jawline. I think this is so helpful on any face, any age, but especially as we age, it gives us so much more control over kind of just giving more sculpting to the face, which we lose as we age, unfortunately. And these Rephr brushes, I think for me, have been such a good investment. They are really nice brushes. I drug my feet for years on buying them because I was afraid it was all hype and that my other brushes were just fine, but I do really like them. No regrets on investing in the Rephr brushes at all. So I'm gonna blend this in a little bit more, kind of pulling down. And then I'm gonna take the sponge and just sponge that, making sure it's blended. I'm gonna sponge above my eyelashes here on my upper eyelid. Okay, you guys, before I do any powdering, I wanna show you this blush because it's fantastic. It's a great price. This is the e.l.f. Blush Tint. It's called the Sheer For It Blush Tint, and this is in Cherry Cola. I was a little skeptical when I picked up this color, but it is so pretty. So I'm just gonna do 4 dots here on each side. I don't go too close in because sometimes that can drop the cheeks on the aging face. And then I'm gonna take my Rephr, this is the LC04, and the LC stands for Liquid Cream. And I'm just going to stipple that in. It is so, so pretty. If you like a really blushy look, you can layer some more on. You can use your fingers to blend this in as well. I sometimes like a little bit more blush in the summertime. So a little bit is enough for a nice flush of color. But if you want to amp it up just a little bit, just add a little bit more. And it's so easy to blend with your fingers as well. It does dry pretty quickly, so you don't want to add those dots and let them sit because then they won't blend out. You want to blend them out pretty quickly. And it dries nicely. It is so pretty. If you haven't tried this, this is probably my favorite drugstore blush of all time. They did a fantastic job on this formula. All right, the Givenchy Prism Libre Pressed Powder is one I've been using constantly lately. You can see I've already hit pan on that. And I'm going to use my Rephr 18 brush. I need to wash my brushes, but I'm gonna use that to set my under eyes. I don't like glow on the under eyes simply because that picks up sometimes like fine lines and wrinkles and texture. So that's an area I like to powder down. Not heavily, but just enough so it's not shiny. And then I also like to powder just in the T-zone. Down my nose. And a little bit under my cheeks. I don't mind if my cheeks have a little glow, but I like to powder down the T-zone. And then what's left on the brush, which is almost nothing, I'll just go over the cheeks just a little bit and swipe over the forehead. And then I go under the eyes with my sponge just to make sure it's not heavy. This pressed powder is so good, you guys. I just can't get enough of this one. And it's very rare that because I have so many powders that I've tried that I hit pan on any one product, so it's really good. So I'm gonna wipe off my brows with a Q-tip. We're just gonna give the brows a little life here. I'm gonna use the Jane Iredale. This is the Pure Brow Gel, and this is in the color medium brown. So I'm gonna go ahead and just give the brows a little shape and a little oomph. This is a really nice brow gel. I really like the color on this one. Sometimes the colors are too warm or too cool. This one is a nice neutral without any funky undertones. Like I feel like sometimes on the cool ones, they look almost lavender in some light, like there's lavender undertone. And sometimes on what they call neutrals will be a little bit more of an orangey undertone or warm undertone. So I like a true neutral. And sometimes a brow gel is enough for me depending on the look. And sometimes I'd like to fill in a little bit with a brow pencil. So I'm gonna start with this, and then as I get towards the end of the makeup look, I'll decide if I need a little more on the brows. And even if you don't wear much makeup at all, just giving the brows a little bit of a lightly tinted brow gel is sometimes enough just to kind of shape the face or give a little bit of a framework to the eyes. As we age, we tend to lose that shape around our eyes as our brows start to thin. And for many of us, the tail of the brow kind of starts to disappear. So just giving that a little more definition is helpful. And you can definitely add more coats if you want a more defined look, or less coats if you want it more subtle. So I'm going to go in with the Natasha Denona Mini Eye Sculpt palette. You guys, Natasha Denona is known for making some incredible eyeshadows. She has bigger palettes too, but I've been loving small palettes. So easy to travel with and just don't take up so much space in your makeup bag or on your counter or in your drawer. So I'm going to use a Rephr brush. This one is the Rephr 27. And I'm going to start out on the inner corner with a little bit of this lighter shade, just for some brightness on the inside of the eye. And then we're going to move to this slightly pink, light pinky shade. And I'm just going to build up the dimension and depth as I work out towards the outer corner. And then we're going to just keep going from lightest to darkest. I think this palette is a universally good palette no matter what your eye color is. And the formula, Natasha Denona does a fantastic formula for eyeshadows. If you haven't used anything by Natasha Denona, this is a good place to start because it's not, you know, it's a pretty pricey brand. But if you start out with a small palette like this, it's not so bad. Just to see if you like it. We'll do some blending here in a second. I'm just trying to get this on easily. I'm not going to go on with the dark black right yet. I'll show you how I'm going to use that in just a second. For an evening look, you could definitely do the outer part with a black to, you know, get more of a smoky eye. So now I'm going to lift toward the tail of the brow and buff that in. This one, the 27 by Rephr, is probably my favorite eyeshadow brush. You can do a whole look really with just the one brush if you wanted to. Now I'm going to use the Rephr 28, just the edge of it. This is a flat brush. I'm going to go into this dark brown color here. And I'm just going to take the edge and drag that darker brown underneath the lash line on the bottom and up to connect with the upper eyeshadow. And then I'm going to use a small angled, this is the Rephr 29 brush. I'm going to go into this dark color here. And I'm just going to put this in the very outer part here of my lash line on the bottom. I'm going to take a little bit more and just create a little bit of depth right here, almost like a very slight wing. And I like to blend that out. I used to like a really defined wing when I was younger, but I definitely like just a little upward lift, but nothing defined now. I've kind of gotten away from that just because of my own personal preferences. So I'm going to take a little bit more of the powder on the sponge and just clean up right through here on both sides. I'm going to take a little bit of this light color. This is the Rephr 01 brush. And I'm going to get a little under my brow right here. This gives you a little brow lift. And a little bit in the inner corner. Now I'm going to use the Maybelline Sky High Mascara and do a little mascara, and then I'm going to put on some Ardell 420 lashes. I could certainly get away without doing lashes, but I'm in the mood today and I feel most confident with lashes on. Just going to hit my bottom lashes a little bit. I'm going to pop on some lashes and I will be right back. Lashes are on, you guys, and I'm going to move on to the Charlotte Tilbury Lip Cheat. This is the color Iconic Nude, one of my favorite lip pencils of all time. Charlotte Tilbury does such a good job on all the products by Charlotte Tilbury are nice, but I think the lip products are some of my favorite. As we age, we definitely start to lose definition in our lip borders, and lip liner helps that a lot. That, of course, can also be helped by a little bit of lip filler or some PDO threads in the lip borders or in the lip body itself. Lip liner is a great way to just give more definition to the aging lip. I'm going to top this off with the Giorgio Armani lip gloss, and I'll list the color down in the description below. Of course, with all the links. This is such a beautiful gloss. And then I'm just going to amp up the blush and bronzer. This is the Wesman Atelier Sculpting Powder Duo. It is so pretty, you guys, and the colors are gorgeous. I'm going to use the rougher 05 brush and just go in and add just a little bit more bronzer to reinforce that cream bronzer that we put down. This is an extra step, but it does help the makeup last longer. Just gives it a little more punch. And then I'm going to take the blush and just reinforce that blush area. And last but not least, I'm going to use a finishing spray. This is actually a Hydrating Glow Mist SPF 50. It kind of sets the makeup down, but also gives another layer of sun protection. So this is the finished look, you guys. I absolutely love the Natasha Denona eyeshadow palette. It's such a great size, all mattes, which I love on mature skin. I think this is like a universally good palette for anyone, and definitely good to start with a smaller size palette to determine if you like the brand, if you like the eyeshadow formula and texture before investing in the larger palettes. I do actually have a lot of palettes by Natasha Denona, and they are beautiful. One of the best formulas on the market, in my opinion, for eyeshadow. You know, before I close out this video, I always do, when I wear lashes, like to do a little tight lining, just to blend the band from the lashes. And this is the Too Faced Killer Liner in the color Killer Espresso, a really, really great liner. Stays on so well, and especially good in the waterline. Thank you so much for watching today's video. You guys, if you haven't tried the Merit, the uniform, it is really, really good, especially for dry, mature skin. It's your tinted SPF. It adds moisture, so you've got a moisturizer, SPF, and a little tint on your skin that's not heavy and doesn't make the skin look like you have a ton of makeup on. Really a pretty tinted sunscreen. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you spending a piece of your day with me. Be good to yourselves and to others. I'll see you in my next video.